Booker T. Washington himself, at the turn of the century, was warning of the same thing. You need to get economic power. You need to gain control of your internal markets. You need to establish your economic stability. Deal with the votes later. This is what other immigrants groups do. No, then NAACP struggled, called him an Uncle Tom, derided this man, and now what do we have? We have the right to vote while we are homeless. We have the right to vote while we are jobless. We have the right to vote while our children are miseducated. This right that we were told would bring us a cornucopia of blessings and freedoms. We have the right to ride the front of the bus and we're the only one riding on it. Yes. We have a right to sit and we ain't got no money to buy a sandwich. We got all of these abstract rights, but nothing real. And this is the situation we face. We inhabit neighborhoods where the industries have flown away and left us bereft of jobs and opportunity. Why? Because we have not paid attention to the realities of our lives. And now we are overrun with violence. Because violence is the result of social disorganization. Violence is the result of a nation not being able to feed and clothe its people legitimately. What we have recognized is that the major struggle in America is not the struggle for political democracy, but for economic democracy. For you can have political democracy. You can vote if you want to, but you can still be poverty-stricken. You can vote if you want to, but you will still have no power. As Robert Allen in his book, when he talks about, the Black Awakening in Capitalist America, he makes this statement that too many of us still believe that democracy works the way it is described in school textbooks. That is, that political power is based on the will of a majority of the people in a given geographical area. He goes on to say, but political power in America is dependent on those who control valued resources and critical institutions, not vice versa. And those who have this power cannot be voted out of their positions by the public at large, because the base of their power lies outside of the formal political sphere. Their base of power lies in the corporations and the large public institutions, which are interdependent but largely removed from the sway of public pressure. What did I just get through saying? The people that will run the global economic system and control the politics of America are not people who run for office. The heads of multinational corporate systems don't run for office. You don't vote on their election to their offices. Yet it is those very people who determine the political and economic destiny of people. And yet you got a group of people, even on the radio station you revere so much, that tell you voting is your key to power. Voting is not a key to power. If you believe that, you believe in the tooth fairy. And power in America is not the power of the vote, but the power of the ownership of resources and the ownership of labor and control of labor. For when you own these things, you can buy the votes and you can buy the elected officials voted into office by the people. What do you think is going on? You think because you voted for these people, they are going to see about your interests when another people is whining and dining them and toasting them and contributing to their campaigns and so forth? If you do, you're out of your mind. But this is the way politics is played, not by voting. You're deceived by a bourgeois class that is wedded to the Democratic Party. that it's got the few crumbs that it has from being attached to the Democratic Party. That's why it cannot create an independent black party. You got the owners of your radio stations and other stations preaching to you about voting day in and day out. Why? Because they gained their privileges because they were voted into office by black people and used their being voted into office to parlay into the ownership of a bit of property. And therefore they want black people in America to believe that electing them to office represents the path of freedom for the masses of the people. And consequently then, they educate you about voting, but do not educate you about the reality of power in America. They make you think then that their power represents the power of the people. These lessons are too clear. But people who don't read, people who do not know the power of the word, will have all of this information right in front of them and perish.